Hello, and welcome to the Cancer Journey podcast. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sherry Ann.
So, today is part two of our hard emotion series, and today we're going to be talking about anger and rage, which, again, a very, very familiar feeling when you're on a cancer journey. And before we get into it, we're going to get grounded with our past check in.
You go first today.
Okay. Physically, I am 5. Emotionally, I am a 4.5. Spirits, a 4.4, and hope is a 4.2, and my word is magic.
Oh, it's a fun word. Okay. Physically, 3.85. It's not true. 4. Solid 4. Emotionally, 4.25. Spirit, 4.5. Hope, 4.65. And my word is manifesting.
Mm. Not judging the word, just excited personally by it. So, as I said, we're going to continue our hard emotion series, and again, we're doing this series because not often are we allowing ourselves to be with those really hard emotions. And so when we don't allow ourselves to be with them, it becomes really hard when they do come up for us. And so we're out of practice of how to conduct ourselves. And so sometimes we become very triggered, and all of this stuff comes out that we didn't want to come out of it. So the more closely we can be acquainted with these hard emotions, the more we are prepared to handle them.
Yes. And so the one that we're going to talk about today, or two actually, because they're two different emotions, but we kind of collapsed them together, and they really are different. They have different vibrations. Is anger and rage, and actually it should be like this. On our map of emotions, anger is actually higher up, so the vibration is a little more less constricting. And then rage is down here. So much more constricting. So it would kind of look like this if I was depicting energy. And and it is one of the most taboo emotions that we deal with when we're working with clients. It's cultural, it's societal, it is human, to actually all of those combined to not want to feel our anger and our rage. And and as we were talking about in general, all emotions need to be felt, not held. But these are two that we hold down, ignore, or try to ignore, suppress, deny, run away from. I mean, everything that you can possibly imagine, not to feel them. And they are very powerful emotions because there's a lot of energy to both of these. And what I want you to know is that uh, kind of in our explanation of what anger is that anger is basically someone crossing a boundary that you know, or a boundary that you didn't know, but you get this visceral feeling like, whoa. It could be as simple as something coming into your personal space, right? What do they say? We have like a 12-inch bubble around us that when somebody enters it, it's like, whoa. Now that's also cultural because we've been to China. That bubble's a lot smaller because there's a lot more people, but um, there is that personal space, and when somebody crosses that boundary, that's just an example. We feel that it's like, whoa, a little violated. Where rage is having a boundary crossed again and again and again, so much that you feel invisible. And so anytime you feel like they don't hear me, they don't see me, they don't get me, there's some rage there. Whether it's simmering and we don't want to admit it, or it's like, what?
Yeah. And I do want to point out that both rage and anger, and when we're talking about the boundaries, they're not physical necessarily, even though we're describing them as such. It's just an example that if someone enters your space, and that's a little bit more visually understandable for a lot of people when we teach them, but a boundary can also be like a value. Like, I highly value freedom. And so if someone crosses that boundary and they take away my freedom, I'm going to feel constricted and I'm going to feel like a little upset. I also see, like, I know that anger is less constricting than rage, but for me, rage is also like a culmination of lots of moments of anger that have kind of built up. And we've used the metaphor of the balloon or the fart, and when we're talking about emotions and like how suppressing them, pushing them down, they eventually need to come up. And so sometimes when we don't express our anger, especially because we write it off, or oh, it wasn't their intention, or whatever we do, but we don't actually let ourselves process it, it builds into rage. As you said, anger kind of is that one time they cross a boundary and it's just, ooh, like a little shocking. And then rage comes in when it's like it's again and again, and it's led you into rage. And so there's all these boundaries that are crossed, but also you haven't vocalized or expressed or shared your need, not enough, but enough that the other person or whoever is impacting you doesn't hear it and they don't understand. Um, and it's no one's fault necessarily, but we do need to have more communication and places to put that energy and how we express it and how we release that energy so that we don't end up in this rage that like has such a constricting vibration that all of a sudden it just explodes on everyone and it has an impact that you really don't want. Um,
Yes.
it becomes so like tight and uncomfortable, and yeah, rage just feels like it wants to explode, and there are all these angry little moments that like come into it.
Right. And we have so much judgment around anger and rage that, and it's generally negative judgment. I mean, there's nobody goes, "Yay, I'm in rage," or "Yay, I'm angry." It's more like, oh, we hear words like, "I'm frustrated," "I'm upset." Those are beginning signs, but oftentimes, because remember the energy's here and here, we are often in anger and we say, "Oh, I'm upset," or "I'm frustrated." We're angry, and we call this the rage angry. But really, this is like, I'm in rage. Ooh, I can go there in a moment's notice. I mean, to lean into how many times I felt invisible, I could tap into that because we all know that everybody at some point in their life has felt invisible. And if you stopped and paused long enough, it's like, what's that about? You would see that somewhere you were triggered because somebody crossed the boundary again and again and again, or something crossed the boundary.
I was
And
just gonna say that. I was just gonna say it doesn't have to be a person, but sometimes it feels easier when it is because then you have someone to blame. But also, as you're describing this, the constriction of anger versus rage, I'm also seeing like anger, and every time an angry moment comes up, instead of releasing that energy, not by yelling at someone, but or like regardless of who deserves or doesn't deserve, but just not releasing that energy in any way, it's almost like you put a padlock on it and you put chains on it. And so the more and more you do that to contain your anger, it becomes rage, right? Like you can see that constriction as you put more chains, more bars, more coverage over it, and it like slowly gets tighter and tighter, and it has this constricting vibration. So you're really like, if it's vibrating like this at anger, as you like keep constricting it, and it becomes rage. And so like I'm completely there with you viscerally, and just as you said, it can come out as, oh, I'm mad, I'm frustrated, I'm upset. um but there's also like a self-sabotaging that happens there often when we don't recognize that anger and we let ourselves get to rage, and your negative ego gets really loud, and there's this whole, so, like, I've known so many people who are probably in rage but call it anger, who are say like, I deserve it, like it's because I put myself through it and I didn't speak up for myself, or like whatever, I deserved it, so I'm just gonna let myself implode and no one else is gonna get hurt, and if they do, it's like it was an accident. I'm just like it's just me, I'm the problem, blah, blah, blah. Not true. Absolutely untrue, especially when you're on a cancer journey and you don't want to explode on everyone else. When you implode, you passively do explode on everyone else. And no one, and no one, including yourself, wants to have to not clean up the damage, but like no one wants it to get to that point.
Right. Yeah. Whew. Let's just slow this down because, when we're talking about it and giving ourselves permission, because while we're talking about it, we're allowing the emotion to come up. It's like, wow, there's a lot of energy in anger and rage, and it is a visceral body message. Something happened, we need you to pay attention. Something is happening, pay attention. And we do this, oh my goodness, if I'm afraid I'm going to explode, and then it's like vomiting my rage on everybody. They're going to think that I'm scary, they're going to run away from me, they're going to think that I'm crazy, they're going to you know call for help. I've got a crazy woman here. Um, they're going to shun me. I don't want to be around that energy, which lends itself to, you know, we might think that we're holding it in, but in the vein of an awareness of emotional intelligence, we're responsible for our energy and how we let it out. And we may think, I'm being fine, nobody could tell that I'm angry or enraged. So we walk into a room and all of a sudden people just look at you and they're like, uh-oh, what's going on over there? Because it seeps out of our bodies. It's part of that air that we bring in when we walk into a room, when we carry something as strong as anger and rage. And
Yes.
that's why people are so afraid of it. And it's one of the emotions that they push down the most, and try to hide. We're in what we're saying at CJI is, please don't hold down any emotion, but there's a clean way to express your anger and rage, and there's a dirty way. And the clean way is take care of you. Separate yourself from the situation. Go someplace safe for you. I like a car. It's a soundproof booth with nobody in it. It's my soundproof booth. And you can just vocalize, scream out. You'll feel the energy flow. You can I love pillows because they're soft and I'm not going to hurt anything. But letting that energy out when I'm taking a pillow, and yeah, I oftentimes have a pillow in my car, just to like hit the other seat. That in itself, what we're trying to do is allow that energy out, not holding it in. And you're not hurting anyone. Or you can journal, or you can, what was it? There's this Wreck This Journal book that used to be out so that you would like, and then rip it apart or write it down, rip it up. Anything that allows you to let that emotion come out of your body is so important. And then, not that it makes it gone completely, then it's coming back to, where did that stem from? Oh, where did I feel the genesis of that particular rage? And for me, it's probably here in my solar plex, which is our kind of our power center somewhere. Let me just kind of show you right here, this place. Not always there. Your emotion will be some wherever it is with you, but allowing myself to go there now that I've taken off that, it's like a steaming pot. I took off the lid, and so all that bubbling is now kind of coming back down and going, what's this about?
Okay. I'm gonna pause you because I wanna I'm like holding a list of things to respond to in my head. Um Hold on. My cat's just she's using the restroom. Luna, get out.
She's almost done.
Okay.
Give her a minute.
No, she's fine. She's out of there. Um, so yeah, there are so many ways to release the anger, right? And a lot of times, especially with rage, because it becomes fiery often because we've suppressed it so much, or we're like waiting for the right moment to do it. And I mean, I encourage waiting for the right moment to let it go, especially if you have a place to let it go. But sometimes it's just crying, like super frustrated crying, um, and like angry crying and like bawling, right? Like sometimes sad makes you cry, but it doesn't make you like bawl and like ugly face cry the way that like a really frustrated one does. And to get to that place, sometimes it feels like it feels painful for some people. Maybe because they haven't let themselves do it. I mean, it feels painful for me just because I'm not a big crier. So if I get to that point, it's like big, big, right? Um,
Mhm.
and there's also like rage rooms that you could go to, but there's like this physical release too. And I also like there it radiates into a space. It needs to radiate into that space because just like you said, which was the second point I also wanted to make, was that it's energy. And like that energy we're talking about, it's not like, oh, like, what's your vibe? What do you like kind of energy? It's like the vibrations that we're talking about each emotion, right? Like we say, expansive to constricting, and you at your highest vibration energetically when you're inexpansive. That's why like that energy can like radiate in that way. It feels like a heart opening kind of experience. But when you're constricting, I honestly would say that you have just the same amount of energy. It's not any less energy, but it's vibrating at like this constricted place. It's almost like it's being held, but it has the same vibration. And so like maybe your waves aren't as big as they are when they're up here, and down here they're like really small waves, but like people can feel that when you walk into a room, as you said, like even people who don't necessarily like um read energy super well, especially when it comes to something like anger and rage that vibrates so like uh intensely and deeply. It's almost like a bass, you know what I mean, in music, and how it like radiates. Like anger kind of feels like that sometimes. Um and yeah, even people who can't read energy necessarily when they walk in the room, it's almost like it has like a smell, like it's so heavy, like there's so much that comes with it that or like people who know you, you know what I mean? Like you can usually be a really talkative person and then you're angry and you're not talking and they're like scared to approach you and they're like, what's wrong? But I don't want to like assume something's wrong, and it just makes the whole energy of the room like uncomfortable. It doesn't make everyone else angry, it just makes it uncomfortable when you don't handle your business, or if you don't communicate what's going on for you and tell everyone what you need, especially because you are passively affecting all of those people. I feel like I had a third point, but I forget what it was now. Yeah, you go.
So, passively affecting people. I mean, there is a dirty way of processing your anger and rage, and that is, and I'm going to use your word because it describes it so well, and that is fire. Is when you're triggered, boundary crossed of some sort. I don't even know. It could be anything. It could be like somebody just gave me one more thing to do, and it's on my shoulders, and it's like, and that's the fire, right? It's like comes out in words. It comes out in that. I'm thinking of a cartoon, that red, like,
The
uh,
steam coming out of your ears.
yeah, or shoots of lightning that's coming out. I mean, it's just really palpable. And so when we do that, when we let the fire out in an uncontrolled and unsafe environment, that's when the other people get hurt.
Hmm.
And then you have to clean it up or you can't take it back. So it's we really want you to feel your anger and your rage, but we want you to first let out that energy and then reconnect with yourself and figure out, okay, what was this about? What is this about? And then being able to, in a more calmer state because you let the energy out, speak to what was not, that's what's not working.
I actually have a revision of what you just said, but very, very close. I actually think the first step is recognizing and acknowledging when it comes into the room. Because it's so hard. I mean, you and I both know this, that like the minute you're triggered, and you're like, "Ooh, I want to say a comeback right now." Like it's so okay.
A
But
punch in the
you like
face.
right, but you don't really know that it's happening because it's like, "Whoop, I'm there." And you kind of tumble into it, you know? It's not like someone going, "Okay, I'm going to hurt your feelings now or I'm going to cross your boundary now." It like happens and again, as acquainted as even we are, you know, we talk about this a lot. We're well acquainted with our emotions, but anger is like a very, very special one. Like anger, rage, frustration. I mean, they all start to roll into each other, right? And there is a big lack of understanding when it comes up for you in the moment. And so a lot of times you are going to react in a dirty way and you are going to handle it. I mean, you know, you're not like covering everything in like a wall of dust all of a sudden. Like maybe you dropped a few things and you made a mess. So you just need to clean it up a little bit. It's not like you've affected and covered every bit of everything all the time. So I do think that there is like it's a slow recognition, it's a practice, it is like an active choice to even try to recognize when it comes up for you because it becomes really hard because we're so ingrained to like and push that down or if something comes up vocalize it and like say it and like do something about it right now because you can't contain it but finding that middle ground of like almost like judgment free for yourself is so hard with anger so I do think that that like recognition and trying to find that recognition and being like it's here it's in the room and being like hold on pause, 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 pause. Um, I just need to take a beat before we move forward with anything because stuff is coming up for me and I don't want to explode. Again, super not easy, especially with the rage one. The more you can recognize it, the faster you can recognize it. Even if you've made a little mess here, you've spilled some soup somewhere, you just made a little mess. You can come back, you can clean it up, and you can.
Yeah.
The sooner the better, really. But it does take time. It does take practice so that we know where to put our rage. Even if you just need to like be like, hold on, and you turn around and you scream, you're like, sorry, little little angry right there. Just need to let off that energy and now I can continue forward instead of holding it in your chest. Like when I say it feels like fire, like my whole being turns red and for me it's like tension in my face, tension in my chest. I think a lot of emotions end up like, especially constricting ones, are like in my chest, but it like it radiates. This one is like big, big for me.
Yeah. Oh, you said it a lot, and I had something that I wanted to say, and it just popped out of my head when I started talking. Oh, I hate when that happens.
I know, I know.
Ooh, boundary, right? Triggered. Um, I got it. Okay. Consciousness and awareness. That's what we're hoping in this podcast to share with you that it's a natural part of being human. Everybody has anger and rage in them. Everybody can feel it. It's whether we're allowing ourselves to, and we're trying to give you tips on how to do it so that you don't feel so ashamed or protective about feeling this emotion, but also that um, it is energy. This is one of the ones that's the most energy that we don't want to feel. And so we do all kinds of gyrations to make it not happen. And the easiest way is to let it happen. But exactly what you're saying. First step, noticing, uh-oh, I'm on fire. And we don't recognize it. You might be spewing and catch yourself mid spew, or you might be like, I didn't even know that happened. And the person that you're talking to is reacting, and you notice that they're backing off, or they just say, "What's going on? You're barking at me," and you go, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm sorry is such a powerful statement, especially when it's heartfelt. Not like, "Oh, I'm sorry," because we say sorry too much in the American culture. But heartfelt, "I'm sorry," and then realizing that you're not apologizing because you're a bad person. I think this is the distinction here too with anger and rage is we don't want to be construed as a bad person. Rather, it's something just happened, a bad act happened. I did a thing that was not the best light of me. And we can apologize for that. But some people think if I say sorry, then I'm apologizing for who I am. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Yes, your emotion is who you are, a part of you, but it's not the definingness of you. It's the messenger to yourself of you. So there's like this big ball of yarn that we have to unfurl, and being step one, what you said, conscious of, ooh, I got triggered. Pause. And when you said pause, 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 in my mind, I have this beautiful dog named Daisy. And when she wants something from me, and I'm sitting down and she can reach me, she takes her paw and she puts it on me and then just stares at me. What a wonderful visual for me. That's like, I'm noticing something. What's going on?
Yeah. And she like looks into your soul when she does it too. So it's very
She
like
really does.
it's if dogs could talk, she would be speaking in that moment like, "Are you good? Do I have your attention right now?" Oh, she's so sweet. But yes, and I also agree too that when we're going on to the self-judgment with it too, that comes with that consciousness, right? Like we want to be conscious when it's coming up, but we want to be conscious of it in a way that's not like, you shouldn't do that. What are you doing? Like that's not where that belongs, or you're doing something wrong, or like we want that consciousness to be like, oh, and I am human, and this is it's gonna come up for me. Like, how do I want to handle this? Like, I have this here, I'm reacting to whatever is out there. How do I want to handle this? Again, very calm words for a very emotionally spiked moment. So my takeaway is that anger happens, rage happens. I mean, we're never not going to experience those emotions. It's not about getting out of them. It's about knowing how to have them and take some of the energy off of it. And rage a lot of times affects our interpersonal relationships. So it becomes really important in how we handle our connections and how we're really showing people we care more than people pleasing, but really heart to heart. I see you being impacted by this. I know what my intention was. Let's clarify that and clean some of this up for us so we can be real and we can be understanding of the experience of each other in a deeper way, and so that I myself don't have to hold on to all the additional emotions that are coming up along with this anger and rage. So yeah, the first step is that acknowledgement and kindness for yourself. Oh, my pesh, physically I am a 4.5, emotionally I'm a 4.65. Spirit is a 4.4, and hope is, it's so hard to do this when I don't close my eyes. Like I need to close my eyes to like, you know. Hope is a 4.25, and my word is vibrations.
Mm. Okay, my takeaway is that we're in rage so much more than we want to admit or we even believe. Um, so I do encourage people to have a relationship with yourself, recognizing when you're in rage. And the key is, am I feeling invisible? And the best way to deal with that invisibility is to see yourself. See yourself before you're trying to make, because when you're enraged, you're trying to make other people see you. So much to say on that. I feel like we need a part two on rage. And we do so much more work on that in our trainings. But so you can recognize that first step. It's like, oh, trigger. I mean, it could just be someone cutting you off on the freeway, and it's like, ah, did you not see me? If those words come out of your mouth, you know you're feeling invisible. And the truth is, that person is not doing this on purpose. in general, I'd say like 80% of the time, they're in their own little world, maybe the even higher percentage. So you're your number one ally. So see you when you're feeling invisible. And my Pesh, it's fascinating to do our Pesh before and after because talking about ourselves and talking about things that matter to us, topics that matter, insights that we get while we're just talking about these deep topics, um, raise my vibration. So physically, I'm a 4.25. Emotionally, I'm a 4.4. Spirit is a 4.55. My hope is a 4.7. And my word is present. Like when I'm with my emotions, I am so present.
Yeah. Oh my god, there's just so much more to say on it. I'm right there with you. I'm like, as you were saying your takeaway, I was like, oh my god, there's more. But thank you for joining us today. We won't hold you too long, and we'll see you next week for a new episode.
Yes. Enjoy yourself for the rest of the day. Be with your emotions and remember you're more powerful than you realize.